I do not love you like stories say a princess should, with trumpets in my voice, or fireworks in my gaze, but in the hush between duties, in the soft weight of my crown before sleep, there you live. You arrived in the stillness where my name meant pressure and tradition, and yet you called it beautiful. I carry kingdoms in my posture, but you never bowed, you stood beside me, spoke my name as if it were not carved in gold, but in wind. I knew love not as romance, but as loyalty expected, decorum practiced. Then you smiled, and something ancient in me softened, like velvet pressed to glass. You do not need to write me ballads or give me roses stolen from royal garden. You give me mornings where silence is not absence, and touch is not display. In a world that watches every glance, you give me the secret luxury of not pretending. This is how I love, not in proclamation, but in presence. You are the breath behind ceremony, the heartbeat beneath my oath. No portrait will capture it, no headline will know it. But I do. I carry you in every step unseen and always mine. I speak to you in glances stolen behind palace pillars, in fingers brushed beneath satin-covered tables. The language we share needs no sound, only knowing. You see the girl beneath the title, the heart behind the handshake. And I, who am trained to hide every tremble, show you my truth without armor. In your arms, I do not need permission to be young or to be unsure. In your eyes, I see a life not mapped by protocol, but by possibility. You do not see me as the heir or the emblem, but as a girl who hums when she walks barefoot, who cries at old songs, who dreams not of conquest, but of quiet. You hold those dreams carefully, like glass warmed in your palm. When the world pulls me back into duty, I return steadier, because your love is my balance. You do not ask for pieces of me, but instead, offer yourself whole. My hours are divided by obligations, my name claimed by a nation, but my heart, quietly, bravely belongs to you. That is not treason, that is truth. And perhaps the purest royalty I know is to be yours when the world turns away. Some nights I sit at the balcony and look out at Madrid, all lit and humming, and I wonder if they know, if anyone senses the rebellion that stirs quietly inside me. Not for power, but for love. They crown me with jewels, but your words outshine diamonds. They gift me titles, but none feel as sacred as yours. There's a sweetness in secrecy, in the quiet glances that only we decode. I trace letters to you in the fog on glass panes, a private poetry of longing, and you answer in the way your voice softens, when it's just us. This love is not the kind of history books, not the royal match drawn in marble halls. It's made of warm sweaters, letters folded in pockets, footsteps in gardens at dusk. It lives in spaces the cameras miss, in the breath I hold when I hear your name spoken by someone else. They see a princess with perfect posture, but you see the way my shoulders sag when the lights go off. And you lift me without lifting a hand, simply by being the place where I'm never performing. I would trade every public smile for one unspoken moment in your arms. They taught me to wave, to curtsy, to never cry where it might be seen. But you never asked for the version of me polished for the palace. You love the girl who forgets lines in speeches, who laughs too loud when she's tired, who stares at the moon as if it might answer back. There's something terrifying in being loved without expectation, in being seen so clearly when the world is full of mirrors. You don't need my perfection, you honor my becoming. In your gaze, I am not confined to legacy, but allowed to be legend in the making, flawed and tried. When you hold me, I do not feel small, I feel infinite, like my life could stretch beyond borders, beyond history, into something entirely ours. I think that's what love is for people like us. It's not escape, it's creation. You do not take me from my world, you expand it. You remind me that behind every curtain of formality, there can still be fire. I was not raised to fall in love, I was raised to lead. But you somehow made loving you the most natural kind of leadership, one where I follow my own heart. Every day, the weight of my name rests on my shoulders, like silk, that sometimes feels like stone. But when you say it, it's soft. You make Leonor sound like a secret, like a wish, not a duty. That's the difference you make. You shift my whole world without ever asking it to change. When I walk through gilded halls and smile at ambassadors, I feel your presence like a whisper at my side. You are not there, but you steady me. You are the invisible thread that stitches my courage together. And when my fingers curl into fists beneath royal fabric, I think of how your hand would open them. They say queens should be distant, composed, untouched by the winds of feeling. But you made me want to feel it all, because you made it say, I'd wear 1,000 crowns if it meant one evening, with you and no one watching. I'd sign every treaty with a sigh, knowing that after the ink dries, I can retreat into the haven of your voice. They can ask for my presence, they can command my attention, but my soul, that kneels only to you, and there, it kneels willingly. There is a love that grows in silence, and ours is that, not for lack of passion, but because the world does not need to know what is not theirs. I kiss you in memory when protocol keeps us apart. I trace the lines of your smile behind closed eyelids during banquets. I cannot leave. You are my clandestine joy, not hidden out of shame, but out of reverence. Because some things are too holy for spectacle. We speak in letters, in looks, in laughter muffled behind heavy doors. There are days I wonder if my ancestors would approve, if the lineage I carry would understand this kind of devotion, this radical tenderness. But then I remember, they loved too. Maybe not like this, but they must have felt it. The ache, the longing, the pull toward someone who feels like peace. I think that's what you are to me, not an escape, but a home. I carry you the way I carry breath, essential, unseen, and constant. If I am to rule one day, I hope to do so with the same grace you've taught me, in your quiet way of loving, steadfast, sincere and free. Sometimes I dream of a simpler life, not because I reject mine, but because I long to share something ordinary with you. To wake beside you in a room with no guards, to make tea while the rain paints the windows, to argue over nothing, and then laugh about it while folding laundry. These are not royal dreams, but they feel noble to me. Because what is nobility, if not the pursuit of truth? And you are my truest truth. I would trade ceremony for authenticity, if only for a day with you unfiltered. Yet even in my reality I find you in the corners of. You become part of my morning rituals, my evening silences. The pages I read echo your voice. The songs I hum carry your rhythm. You're stitched into the fabric of my hours. No decree can separate me from that. So I live for the glimpses, the shared breath as you pass by, the note hidden in a book, the echo of your goodbye that stays long after your steps fade. In these small rebellions, I find a kingdom far more precious than gold, one built of glances and held by love. You've taught me that strength isn't in stillness, but in softness, that chooses to remain open despite the world. You never ask me to be less, only to be real, and in that permission, I found freedom. I used to think my legacy would be measured by alliances and laws. But now I wonder, what if it is measured by how fiercely I've loved, even when I was told to hide it. I watch you move through your life with grace that humbles me, with kindness that disarms my fear. You are not a prince in storybooks, but something better, real, fallible, steady. When I am with you, the future does not frighten me, it beckons. I want to share the burden and the bliss. I want you to see me age, not as a sovereign but as a soul, still learning. Let the world crown me 1,000 times over. My truest coronation will be the moment I choose you, fully, with no hesitation. Until then, I will wear your love like armor beneath silk. Let them speak of alliances, let them speculate, but we will know, the crown I value most is the quiet moment, where I am simply yours.